So you guys seen in the last part of the video that I ran this through and honed out the cylinders and made them all nice and pretty again. One of the things that I wanted to do before putting this all together is use some of the compressor oil itself and run the hone through again, just so that all the hone scars and scratches that this puts in are all nice and filled with oil. And they also suggest in the instruction manual that you oil everything up really nice before assembling the pistons back into here. So we gotta lube these up with oil, and this is nice and oiled now because I just ran the hone through it. So it was kind of a two-in-one thing there. So now I'm gonna figure out what clamp toolie thing here we need. So we gotta figure out what size is what. You know, I'm gonna guess that this small one is for that. Hopefully, for the little guy. Oh no, it's a problem. He's too big. So, well, we'll find the one for the big guy, and we may have to modify this guy. I may have to cut him down a little bit so that he fits. We'll just cut this off and we'll re-weld it on at the size that I need, unfortunately. So, he looks like the proper size for this one. So I'll just double check with the larger one and just make sure we're on the right track here. Yeah, larger one is definitely not it. We're a winner here. So he's good. So and now, you know, I came with these nifty pliers. Hopefully everything will. They really don't give you a whole lot of room here. Oh yeah, there we go. Just gotta open the pliers up further. Okay. So we got him, we know he fits, so we can loop him up, but let me see what I can do about making this guy work. So it looks like we need to take quite a bit out of there. Well, let's get the welder out. So the wife suggested that I just try and make one. So I think I will attempt that before.
This loom as a weld onto there, and then coming back with a piece of heat shrink over the entire thing is going to make it look real nice. To do it, I mean, why not?
So the wife was asking right before she shut off the camera how you can get that out, and this just pops out. So you can slide it all out. Whoever designed it thought ahead. So. Let's do a little cutting with the whiz wheel here. So I gotta fire up the big bad neighbor hammer here. Coming in your way. I got my own cameraman today. Boxo Tools. Safety third. So I'm hoping that we can just cut through this with the whiz wheel, and then we'll bend up a couple of flappies, and then we'll drill some holes in it, and hopefully we'll be good. Let's show that compared to the other ring. So we're about the same size, but once I cut through it and then I bend up these flaps, we should be smaller. And I'll just keep bending up those flaps until we're at the right size that we need. I have 3 of them. So I'm going to take the smaller of the 3, which was the inside roll. So I grabbed the 3, the smaller of the 3. So this was the inside band, and we'll take it in. Bend that up like so. Come over here and we'll bend this one up like so. Try and eyeball and get it. Alright, let's go see if this guy will go around our piston. So I think that's good. We'll I'll maybe trim a little of this back, and we'll drill some holes and then maybe trim a little back. Which point now?
Just making sure it doesn't need any notches to make it easier to put it in.
No, I think that'll be good. We just need to
You need to know where the holes are?
I think drill some holes. I got the other band over there. We'll copy that guy. Why did I do the other one so easily, and now this one? It's that right-left thing that gets me all the time. Alright, at least gives me the width is the most important part. I can plant the drill bit where I want. So, see if this guy fits our hole. We're close. I think we'll be okay using him. Let me grab a drill. do this without drilling holes in my fingers. See if we can make this a little easier. Maybe 2x4 usually helps. Okay, let's see if we can cut this off.
Are you gonna try this?
Yeah, are they right-handed, left-handed? Do you know the difference?
For what?
What type of shears these are?
No, how would I know?
Well, these are straight, so they're for making straight cuts. And they have some that are curved this way and some that are curved this way, and one's for right-hand turns and one's for left-hand turns.
Oh, I thought you were asking if I knew what's for a right-handed person or a left-handed person, not what kind of curve it makes.
No, those are wrenches. Wrenches are for left-handed or right-handed. No?
No?
Alright, let's get the pliers. Where'd the pliers go? Will it work? I think it'll work. A wife for the save, I guess. Good job. Colleen for the save. Good job. So, could have made that one band a little... This was just out of the scrap drawer. If it would have been a little wider. This side we're good. We made it in the holes there. Good enough. Good enough for the Joes I know. Alright, so now we got lube all this stuff up. For that, I am going to use an acid brush. Here, there. Bag of acid brushes on Amazon. They're dirt cheap. A couple bucks for 100 of them.
Save your fingers.
Yes, save your fingers. But unfortunately, with this, I gotta touch it, so I think it's gonna get me all dirty, anyways. I think this is one of those things that the more oil, the better. Make sure you get it good and all the way around. Top of the piston. Let's not leave all the hairs from cheap acid brush on it. Okay, now remember, these channels, you don't want them lined up with each other, so make sure that they're all on opposite sides of the piston.
Offset?
Offset, yes. So, where's my instructions, and see if it just says like start with the small one or the big one, or so it looks like from the diagram, it looks like the large one is already up in there, and he's working on the small one. So we'll start with the large one. Okay, I think you're gonna have to hold those tight. Clamp on clamp, clamp on clamp. Hold that guy right there, don't let him spin. Do the clamp. Okay, good, we're in. That one worked well. Let's see how our shop made one does.
Anything done?
Huh?
It's going, I can do it.
Uh-oh. No, don't drop it on my fingers. Anything back? Okay. Oh, we forgot the gasket. All right. Fingers crossed that solves our issue. So, wasn't too bad. You know, I don't know what really to say about it. This worked awesome, I think. Even though we had to make one, but I'll throw him in the kit. So now, what we gotta do is I gotta go through and we got to start bolting this guy back together, and we got to torque everything down. So on the little instruction manual, they gave us torque specs for those. So we have a K30, so the K30 is, you know, 330 inch-pounds. So it says inch-pounds there, so anybody who's doing this, if you don't have a inch-pound, excuse me. If you don't have an inch-pound torque wrench, you're gonna need to get one. They sell them up at Harbor Freight. They're fairly cheap. We went and picked one up for another project that we were doing last year, and I think it was only like 30 bucks. So so yeah, I will let me get set up for torquing everything down, and we'll be back for some more filming. And then once we kind of get some of this put back together, I'm not going to put this guy on yet. Then we'll kind of clean it up, scuff it down. We're going to shoot a coat of some engine black ceramic paint on there, just to kind of take care of any of the raw aluminum look that's chipping through from pressure washing and whatnot. So just give it a nice new look. We'll just blow one quick coat on it, freshen it up, let it sit for a little while, and we'll put it back together. So the wife made it out here a little sooner than I had thought, so I think we should be able to get this guy up and running tonight. We'll be back. Dave here. We're back with a torque wrench to torque down these head bolts. So I was saying that you were going to need a inch-pound torque wrench for this. I was looking at my inch-pound guy. I had it out. I got it over here. I was getting ready to start doing it, and my inch guy only goes up to like 260 inch-pounds or something, and we need to do 330 inch-pounds. So I had to break out the big boy for it, and we just got to convert inch-pounds over to foot-pounds. So there's 12 inches and 1 foot, so 330 divided by 12, we come up with 27.5. So we're gonna go, so I got this set at 27.5 on here. So if you guys don't know how to use one of these, so you have your foot-pound gauges here, and you have your zero. So, you know, say you wanted 40 foot-pounds, so you would crank it up to where the zero is even with your center line, and this part of your tool is right on the 40 line. You would be at the 40 foot-pounds. Since we're looking for 27.5, so 25 is down there, and I cranked it over to, so these numbers here are, so like if you needed 20 foot-pounds and you put it on the 3, or I'm sorry, if you needed 23 foot-pounds, you would go to the 20 mark and then put the 3 on your center line, and you would be 23 foot-pounds. If you put the 6 on it, you would be at 26 foot-pounds. So yeah, so hopefully I explained that right for you guys. So, and then, so there is a route that we go with, there is an order that's on this paper. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So and I'm not going to crank like this one all the way down till we have our 27 foot-pounds of torque, until we kind of feel that we're, you know, a little bit even. I kind of tighten these all down by hand first, So I'm just kind of doing like a 1, 2, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 2. I think I'm gonna have to find a different socket way of doing this, because that big one don't fit in there. Okay. So let's see if this guy works a little better. So I got rid of the big socket. And we're down to a little socket. Okay, so we're good now. So 1, 2. Okay. So we're gonna go back to 1 now. I'm just going to keep repeating this process until we get a click out of it. 1, 2. 2. We should be getting close to getting a click. I would think. There we go. Okay. So, we got it. We're good with that. Now, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of put this top back on here. And then we are going to, we're gonna clean this up and paint it real quick. So okay, so we got this up here. I just put a couple of the top head bolts just kind of loosely in place here, so these don't want to slide off. So I'm just gonna just kind of lightly wipe it down. You know, we pressure washed everything, so with the engine degreaser, so it should be fairly clean, but I have been touching it, so you know, we just messed with a whole bunch of oil and stuff to put the pistons in. So let's just just double check it, make sure it's nice and clean. Or somewhat clean. So I am gonna lightly hit this with a little scuffing pad as well. Just to make sure that we have a little bite to it. I'm not trying to go crazy. Like I said, this is, you know, it's a compressor that, and by the end of the night, if this thing works and we're good to go, by the end of the night, this thing's gonna be covered in dust, because that's just how I roll. So and we'll wipe it down again after I do this. If there was any oil on it, I wanted to wipe it off before we did this so that we weren't spreading it around. I'm just taping off what I don't want painted, of course. But we just cleaned the top of this head, so you know, we definitely don't want any overspray on this. I'm not going to get crazy with this either, you know, like I said, I'm just gonna blow a coat on there just to get rid of all the silver from pressure washing it. Of course, tape off our new oil fill guide and our new glass lens here. Actually, give me 2 of the lenses, so. Okay, there's just a little quick coat of adhesion promoter, so I'm gonna let that dry for 10 or 15 minutes or so, and we'll be back. Alright, we're back. It's been about 15 minutes. Got some Doopy Color engine enamel. So, like I said, I'm just gonna put a coat, maybe 2 on here, just to get rid of this silver, so, and make it pretty. It's probably going to take more than just a coat. That's okay though. Alright, we'll let that sit for a few minutes. And we'll come back for another coat. Alright, here we go for round number 2. Alright, that's coat number 2. Definitely think we're looking good. So I'm gonna let this dry for a little bit. You know, I'll give it another 10 minutes or so to dry, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm just gonna double check everything, make sure that there's no spots that I missed, like that spot right there. So it's like the first time that it was painted, like nobody painted up underneath these fins. They were still all bare aluminum underneath there. So that's That's what I've been working to try and get. So we'll be back in like 10 minutes and just double check everything. As long as I don't see anything, I'll come back with the flashlight and just take a look. As long as I don't see anything, we'll let this dry till later on this evening. So we'll be back. Okay, I checked it with the flashlight and I'm good with it. It's good enough. Like I said, if we get this thing up and going tonight, it'll be dusty by the end of the night. So I'm gonna let this dry for the next probably few hours. I did put, you know, a little extra paint on there than I was hoping. I was hoping for one coat, you know, leave it for an hour and we'd be good to go. But, you know, I ended up taking, you know, I only put 2 coats on, but that second coat went on kind of heavy. I'd say it's probably more, you know, along the lines of, at the very least, 3 coats. So, I will be back in a few hours to start to reassemble. So, all right, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for joining us. I'll be back. Okay, we're back out here after a few hours of dry time on the pump motor. I'm gonna set you guys down and I'm gonna carry the pump over here and set it back up on top of the compressor, and we're gonna start reassembling. So here we go. Son of a gun's heavy, that's for sure. Oh, didn't get the belts on. Let's get the belts on. It sucks to get the whole thing together and forget the belts. So, now we got put on the top of the head. I don't know what they call this, the valve plate, maybe. So I marked these bolts when we took them apart. Kind of 1 through 6, but I believe it's 3 that's, no, not 3. One of them's missing. Okay, so this part's going to be a little tricky up here because that one bolt was missing, and I showed you guys that I had gotten like some all thread and some nuts, and And that's all part of putting the cage on. Which I think I gotta slide the compressor back to get the cage back on. Just kind of snugging these up for the moment. These got to be torqued down, but I kind of need to, I think I need to figure out what's going on with this cage before we continue on with torquing, because there's a certain order that they have to be torqued in, and with that one missing, it kind of defeats the purpose of having an order. So I got everything all put together, but I need to slide this back, and I need to figure out how we're going to do this whole cage thing. But first I want to vacuum out back behind the compressor. Just vacuum it out, clean it up because it's a mess back there. But I have this thing sitting on a rubber mat. So not only do I have to walk it back to get it into position, which I could do, but then I gotta tilt it all different directions, and we gotta weasel the rubber mat underneath it. The rubber mat really quiets this thing up, so I need to go see where the wife is at. So I will be back. Okay, so I kind of wiggled the compressor back enough so that I could get back here and start putting the shield on. So we kind of got this bottom pan, I guess you would call it, the bottom piece that I painted black. I have that just kind of loosely on here. I do not have it tight by any means, so that we have some adjustment in here. And then I kind of, so I cut a piece of all thread down. So I had taken one of these head bolts up to the hardware store, and I got some stuff that fit these bolts, and then I got the all thread that fit these bolts. So this is the same threading. The only thing about this is that these are like grade 8 bolts. This is not. But it should still allow me to, I should be able to do the sequence now and torque it. And then I can screw this guy on here. So, and then the shield has a rubber gasket that'll slide over this, and rest on here. So, and hopefully, that we should be good with that. It's threaded on the top then, so then I can nut and bolt it if I need to, or we can add another piece of all thread. So, I don't remember what was up here before. Like I said, it was like 20 years ago, but if I had to guess, it was a head bolt like this that had the stud on it, with an extra set of threads, and then the shield went over the top of that, and then you nutted and bolted it on the top. which is basically the same thing that I just did here. I do have some actual nuts that just fit this as well. So I could do, you know, I could do that way too. We could put the shield on here, and then you know, and then this would screw on top, you know, and tighten the shield down, and it would work the same way. But I think that this will work because this actually fits inside the rubber seal. The only thing that you know we may have to do is I may have to get a washer that fits over the top of this piece here, and we may have to weld it. So then that way when the shield comes down, it has something to sit on. So I think that that's the only other thing that I'm probably gonna end up having to do. And then the shield will just sit up here. It won't even need to be tightened down because it gets tightened down on the back side. So I think that that's probably what we're gonna end up doing, but I need to know where that shield's gonna sit. So that's gonna be the next thing. Hopefully the wife will be out here in a little bit, and she can kind of help me put this shield on. I mean, I'm sure I could put it on by myself, but I just painted it. I really don't want to scratch it all up. Let me go see where she's at, and then if she's not coming out yet, we'll just scratch it up. Okay, Colleen's on her way out here, so I gotta remember to keep calling her Colleen instead of the wife, so you guys know who she is. She keeps reminding me. So I'm gonna go get the cage and bring it over here. She was getting ready to come out, so. Okay, so they sent oil with the rebuild kit, but I want to kind of do like a break-in oil. I'm gonna fill it up with the central pneumatic stuff, and we'll run it a few times, and then I'll let it drain overnight, and then tomorrow I'll come back out and I'll fill it up with the stuff that they sent. That way it just kind of cleans out anything that I didn't get cleaned. So. So I put what I had in there, which I thought was enough, and it was not enough. So if I had to guess, the 2 quarts that they sent me is what it takes.
Math.
new doohickey.
The other one was gross.
Yeah, the other one was really gross. Okay, so this is going to be first fire up. Fingers crossed. She's hiding in the Jeep, guys. All right, fingers crossed. Shit. So far so good. It works. It kicked on. It filled up to max thing. Yeah, max power. So I think we're good. The real test will be how it holds up under load with tools going. Before the rebuild, I was having to stop when it kicked on because it wasn't able to keep up with my tools. So I mean, even just so much as a grinder, it couldn't keep up with it. So that'll be the true test is once I start doing some grinding and some sanding. I got some stuff over there that needs to be sanded, so that'll be the true test. And then another test that I can have was I could fill it up before I went to bed, shut it off, come out the next morning and it was half empty. So it was just leaking air out of the head. So if we come out here in the morning and it still has air in it, then that's a good sign that we did something right. So hopefully. Huh?
So
yeah, the wife tells me, Colleen. Yeah. Colleen says that I gotta stop saying so at the end of my sentences.
And say my name.
Say my name, bitch. I'm happy. So. It looks good. I'm gonna put the cage on, I guess, and we'll see how she's doing tomorrow. If she's holding air, I won't drain it tonight. We'll leave it. We'll see if she's draining air. So far, I don't think it's draining air. I'll keep an eye on that gauge and see if we're losing any air. We shouldn't be. I went through everything and got rid of any leaks that I had when I brought this thing back home. So hopefully we'll be good to go. So now I'm just messing with you.
Because you don't know how to end a sentence.
It's just poor grammar, bad habits. But we got it all put back together. There's still a couple things that we need to do. In the rebuild kit, the instructions say after you run it for a little bit, go back and retorque everything. So we still got to do that. We got to go back and retorque it. As of last night, I've only cycled it 3 or 4 times. And by cycling, I mean like I hooked up an air tool to it and I just used it till it kicked on, and then I let the tank fill. I've done that like 3 or 4 times. Before we rebuilt it, I would say we were probably, from the time that it kicked on to the time it filled, we were probably 3 to 4 minutes to fill. Now, this thing should, I believe it says from what I read online, from completely empty to full, it should be like 4.5 minutes. So for me to be, from the time that it kicked on, with air already in the tank, when it kicked on the cycle, it was taking, 3 or 4 minutes to top it back off, which, was completely wrong. So I knew that there was problems with it. So now to cycle it, I would say, just to top it off, we're under a minute. I would say, we're upwards of a minute, but under a minute. So way better. To go from 3.5 to 4 minutes to just top off the tank to under a minute, like, awesome. So the one thing that I did, this part of the shield here is supposed to be pinched between the compressor and this lower tray down here, and I missed it. I didn't get it caught in between there when we bolted it together. So when it's running, this is rattling everywhere, which I don't like. But in order to get to this and torque everything down, I have to take this shield back off. So we're gonna use it today and see how it does, and then later on this evening I'm gonna pull the shield back off. We're gonna go through, we're gonna retorque everything again, and hopefully we're good. And then when I put the shield back on, I'll make sure that this gets pinched between the compressor and that lower plate like it should be. So then this rattle will go away. One thing that I did notice when I was having a problem with this thing pumping air, when I would come out in the morning, like I shut my compressor off every night when I go in. So when I go in, the compressor's full, I shut it off. When I was coming out the next morning, like I was down to 80 psi. So it was losing half or a little more than half of the tank's air overnight, which it never did that before. Like I may have lost a couple of pounds, but usually when I would come out the next morning and I hit the on switch, like it wouldn't kick on. So, it was still holding 99.8% of its air overnight. And then for it to lose like more than half its tank overnight, like there was a major issue. So I filled it up last night before I went in for the night. And when I came out this morning, it lost right around 40 pounds. So it still lost air. But nowhere near as much as it was before we rebuilt the motor. So I don't know if it just needs a break-in period, if it needs to, adjust itself. Excuse me. So on the top of the valve plates up here, if you watch, the rebuild process of it. There was these little thin strips of metal that sat in these channels in the valve plate up here in the top. There was 3 that sat in the bottom, and then there was 3 that tucked up in the top. We had to use Vaseline to hold them in place. So I don't know if those just need to kind of break in. So I did read something in the instructions about sanding them down if they didn't fit in the channel or something like that. If they didn't fit properly, sand them down. Mine seemed to fit in the channel okay, but if one of them is getting hung up or something, maybe that's where, because I didn't sand them. So maybe one of them's getting hung up on the edge of the channel that it sits in a little bit, and it's holding it open, and that's why I lost some air. So I'm hoping that, with using it today, it seems to be okay. So I filled it up when I came out here this morning, and that was probably an hour and a half ago, and it looks like it lost a half a pound since I filled it. So It is still leaking a little bit. I don't hear anything. So, I mean, it is the slightest of the leaks. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. I'll do an update video maybe in a couple of days. Another thing that I wanted to do, we left off last night where, you know, I filled it up with Harbor Freight oil, and I just wanted to run it through some cycles, and then we're gonna drain it, and I'm gonna fill it with the full synthetic stuff that they sent with the rebuild pump. Now, I don't know if that's the best thing to do. You know, they sent me full synthetic. I used just regular compressor oil from Harbor Freight. It's designed for compressors like this, but you know, they sent full synthetic. So I don't know if this thing requires full synthetic. Maybe that's what caused the problem in the first place, was that I didn't have the right oil in it. I don't know. I've never had a problem. I've changed oil on many compressors, never had a problem with it. So, but after running it just a little bit that I've ran, this oil, you can see in the sight glass, it's not clean oil anymore. It's black. Well, I would say it's a very dark gray. So, you know, we're gonna drain it. I didn't clean out the inside of this because I didn't want to get the bearings all wet or anything like that, cause any rust. So none of this got cleaned out. So I ain't gonna understand why it got dirty. But you know, so we're gonna change this out. I'm gonna use it today, and we'll probably drain it tonight, and then we'll top it off tomorrow with the full synthetic. And hopefully, as we use it throughout the day or the next day or two, the couple of things that I see, like, you know, the dirty oil, and you know, the loss of air still, hopefully it corrects itself. You know, being a compressor, I don't know if that's, you know, even an idea of it correcting itself, or if maybe just, you know, it's just time for a new pump. You know, we'll find out. I'm gonna put it to work today, and if all goes well, I'll have a good review for you guys coming back up. As of right now, I'm happy with the way everything's looking, other than the loss of air. So we'll see. If it keeps up with all my tools and all I got is a little bit of a loss of air, you know, I'm okay with it. So there's, you know, there's also this copper line that runs up to this thing. You know, I need to, when I pull this cover off, I'm gonna do a leak check on that. I'm gonna spray some soapy water on there and see if maybe it could be leaking from there, because I did have it off. And you know, when I took that thing off, I mean, it was on there, like it was tight. And when I put it back on, you know, I cranked it as hard as I could with my hand. You know, maybe I need to go in with the rubber mallet and just give a couple of taps and push it, you know, just a little bit tighter. So, you know, we'll see. I'll check those things out a little later on tonight when we do a service check on it. So, stay tuned. I'll let you guys know. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the video of the rebuild. I kind of had a good time rebuilding it. I mean, it's a little, you know, little touch and go, a little nerve-wracking, because it's such an expensive tool, and for me to rebuild it, I've never rebuilt anything like that before. You know, I'm very mechanical. You know, I think I'm talented at what I do. So I think I did a good job putting everything together and doing everything properly and following the instructions and cleaning everything. And so I think I did a good job on it. We will see. Thanks for joining us. I'm out. She's like brand new, all rebuilt, pumping. Look how shiny she is. She's like a brand new compressor.